This is every drone currently operated by Iran. Reconnaissance platforms, kamikaze systems, long-range strike drones, submarine-launched weapons. Some exported, some combat-tested, some unlike anything else on Earth. First up, the Mohajer 1. Mohajer 1 is the drone that started everything for Iran. Built in 1985 during the Iran-Iraq War, it was one of the first military drones ever deployed in the Middle East. The name Mohajer means migrant in Persian, fitting for a machine designed to cross enemy lines unseen. Small, simple, and limited to a 50-kilometer range and 90 minutes of flight time, it was built for one purpose: watching the enemy without being seen. Iran used it extensively in the final years of the Iran-Iraq War to monitor Iraqi troop movements in real time. At a time when most militaries were still relying on manned reconnaissance aircraft, Iran was already thinking differently. Mohajer 1 was not just a drone. It was the first chapter of a program that would take 4 decades to fully reveal itself. Ababil 1. Ababil 1 was Iran's second-generation drone, developed in the late 1980s. The name comes directly from the Quran, describing birds sent by God to destroy an invading army. Iran chose that name deliberately. It was primarily a reconnaissance platform, but could also carry small explosive payloads, making it one of Iran's earliest dual-purpose systems. But the most significant thing about Ababil 1 was not what it could do, it was where it went. Iran transferred this drone to Hezbollah in Lebanon, marking the first time in history that a state used drone technology as a tool of proxy warfare. That decision, to arm allied forces with drone technology, would become Iran's most powerful and most copied military strategy for the next 3 decades. Ababil 3. Ababil 3 is a significantly upgraded evolution of the original Ababil series and remains one of Iran's most widely deployed surveillance platforms. With a range of 150 kilometers and both optical and infrared cameras for day and night operations, it is a serious intelligence-gathering tool. Iran has supplied it to Hezbollah, Houthi forces in Yemen, and multiple allied groups across the region. In 2006, Hezbollah flew an Ababil 3 deep into Israeli airspace, one of the most heavily defended territories in the world, before Israeli jets finally intercepted it. That single flight sent a message to every air force in the Middle East. Iran's drones were no longer toys, they were a real threat. Karar is where Iran's drone program made its first major leap. Unveiled in 2010, it became Iran's first jet-powered combat drone, and the difference was dramatic. While most drones of that era crawled through the sky at a few hundred kilometers per hour, Karar reached speeds of up to 900 kilometers per hour, faster than many second-generation fighter jets. With a range of 1,000 kilometers and the ability to carry both air-to-air missiles and ground attack bombs, it was designed to operate in actively contested airspace. Its name means striker in Persian. Iran also designed it to serve as a high-speed target drone for training air defense systems, meaning it was built to both kill and to test defenses simultaneously. Karar signaled that Iran was no longer building surveillance tools, it was building weapons. Kaman 22. Kaman 22 is one of the most capable drones Iran has ever produced. Unveiled in 2022, it carries a range of 3,000 kilometers, enough to reach targets across the entire Middle East, Southern Europe, and deep into Central Asia from a single launch point inside Iran. It can carry precision-guided bombs and missiles, stay airborne for 24 hours, and incorporate stealth features designed to reduce its radar signature. To put that range in perspective, a Kaman 22 launched from Tehran can reach Rome, Moscow, or Riyadh without refueling. For a country under decades of sanctions and arms embargoes, building a drone with that kind of reach is an extraordinary achievement and an extraordinary threat. Mohajer 10. Mohajer 10 is Iran's direct answer to the American MQ-9 Reaper, and that comparison is not an exaggeration. Officially unveiled in May 2023, it has a range of 2,000 kilometers and can stay airborne for 24 hours. It carries up to 300 kilograms of precision-guided munitions and surveillance equipment. A turboprop engine gives it speed and endurance that older Iranian drones could never match. The MQ-9 Reaper costs approximately $30 million per unit. Iran has not disclosed the cost of the Mohajer 10, but given Iran's track record of mass-producing cheap and effective systems, the price difference will almost certainly favor Iran. And military analysts were direct in their assessment. Mohajer 10 places Iran in a category of drone capability previously held only by the United States, Israel, and a handful of NATO nations. Mirage 521. Mirage 521 belongs to a category of weapons that military planners have struggled to counter, the loitering munition, commonly called a kamikaze drone. It flies to a target area, circles until it identifies the highest value target, then dives and detonates its warhead on impact. With a range of 450 kilometers and a design optimized for mass production, it is cheap enough to deploy in large numbers and small enough to evade many radar systems. Iran has supplied versions of this drone to Houthi forces in Yemen, who have used it repeatedly to strike targets deep inside Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, two of the wealthiest and most heavily defended countries in the region. Mirage 521 proved that you do not need an air force to strike your enemies. You just need enough drones. Hadid 11. Hadid 110 is unlike anything else in Iran's arsenal because it launches from underwater. Unveiled in 2023, it is stored inside a canister mounted on a conventional submarine. While the submarine remains fully submerged, the canister is released, rises to the surface, and the drone deploys its wings and begins flying toward its target. There is no visible launch activity, no radar signature from a surface vessel, no warning. Iran operates a significant fleet of conventional submarines across the Persian Gulf and Gulf of Oman, some of the most strategically critical waterways in the world. Hadid 110 turns every one of those submarines into a covert strike platform. The implications for naval operations in the region are significant. A submarine that can launch drones without surfacing is a submarine that is almost impossible to anticipate. Iran didn't just build drones, they built a system. Shade 131 is the smallest of them. 900-kilometer range precision strike. It doesn't hit buildings. It hits radar systems, electronics, air defenses. It doesn't destroy, it blinds. And when your defense is blind, Shade 136 arrives. 2,500-kilometer range, 50-kilogram warhead, cost $20,000 to $50,000. The NATO missiles fired to shoot it down cost 10 times more. Russia deployed it against Ukraine, power grids, heating infrastructure, civilian areas. And for the first time, the entire world realized a cheap drone can change modern warfare. So the world started building counters, and Iran responded with Shahed 238. Same airframe, same low cost, same mass production. But this time, the piston engine is gone, replaced by a turbojet pushing past 500 kilometers per hour. Reaction time that was once minutes is now seconds. Stealth variant included, radar-absorbing material across the frame. This isn't an upgrade. This is a direct answer to every countermeasure the West built. And above all of this, Shade 149 Gaza, 20-meter wingspan, 35 hours airborne, 7,000-kilometer range, London, Beijing. Every point across the African continent, from Iranian soil. Surveillance and strike simultaneously. This is not a battlefield weapon. This is continental power projection.